What's up, everybody? Steve McCarthy. I'm joined with three special, wonderful, beautiful guests. We're going to talk today a little bit about mindset and the importance of it in your business, and how having the wrong mindset could hold you back way too long, and having the right mindset and being around the right-minded people can actually elevate your career super, super fast. Human beings, as just in general, couldn't run 15 miles an hour forever until one man, Roger Bannister, 1954, changed his mind. He believed he could beat that record, and he did. He beat that 4-minute record in 1954. And what do you think happened right afterwards? Everybody started beating it. It is now the new norm, and it's how we measure running. I'm joined today with Kelly McCarthy, the brains behind the McCarthy Real Estate Team. My wife, been in real estate for 8 years, a super high producer. I'm with Ed Lenzer. Ed Lenzer is one of the top producers in our little town of Yuba Sutter. And he's been doing this for, what is it, Ed, 5 years now?
4 years.
4 years. God, it seems like forever. Ed was took off really, really fast, and he's been crushing it in real estate, and I'm glad he's here today. And then we have Amber, who's got the most experience of all of us. Hi, a wealth of knowledge, and she's going to be joining us too. So today we're going to touch a little bit on mindset, and I'm going to tell you one of the defining moments in my entire life was the day my mind changed after reading a book, and that was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that was a book that kind of unlocked a lie, I guess, a lie that I had been living, that my income was limited to the job that I believed that I was capable of. And that book opened up the ideas for me to be able to start my own business. And one of the businesses I started was with Ed, the first one in our early 20s, which was a super successful, by that I mean failure, of a mobile oil changing business, but it was a lot of fun. But Amber, you are intentional about mindset. And if you would, can you kind of just run us? It's obviously it's highly important to you. What do you do daily? What's your routine like to make sure that you keep your mind in the right spot?
So I just from growing up, I believe that I guess growth and intention has always kind of been a foundation in my family. It's just how you are going about doing it, how you're going to be successful, what steps are you going to take. So that's kind of where I always started. So for me, it was just constantly being challenged of how I was going to be better, grow each month, grow each year, and it all starts with your day. So for me, I kind of plan out my intention and categories of my business, how I'm going to grow, if I'm going to educate myself, if I'm going to maintain my business or sustain it. So obviously education, spending time doing that. Growing if I'm going to recruit or if I'm going to prospect or gain more business. And then sustaining, we all have to manage our escrows and kind of deal with our clients at the time. And then maintenance. And then with the quarantine and being forced kind of to be at home, I feel like I'm spending more time kind of taking care of my back end business and maintaining it and really growing that side and spending time doing all the stuff that we need to do. And then I think it's really important too, to not only concentrate on your business, but yourself. So if you're spending time intentionally deciding if you're going to be a good partner or a good mom or a good person, or just like what you are going to do to balance your day, not only in business, but just as a person. So for me, that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I always start my day making my bed.
Oh, I watched that. Did you watch that on Goalcast?
I've done it for probably, I would say 20 years. So yeah. I don't know. I've always done it. I'm always a person that's like, check a box. At least I've done something successful today at the start of my day.
You started right? out with a victory, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now you grew up with a different, Kelly and Ed and myself, we grew up in a slightly different world. Now you grew up, your father, first of all, our parents, we all of us have wonderful parents. But your parents didn't grow up in the W-2, worked a regular job. They're entrepreneurs, have several successful businesses and stuff. So what's like something big that you learned mindset wise from being a child in that environment?
Well, I came from a family of really hardworking entrepreneurs, but also educators. And so I think for me, just always being educated is a proactive way to be intentional of your day. That's where I feel comfortable. If I know what's going on and I know what my just kind of plan is, it makes me feel confident and comfortable no matter what I'm doing. So I love that. And then really just a balance of not only did I grow up with people that are really hardworking in business, they're just great people. And my grandparents, I'll never forget when I graduated from college and I had my diploma on the wall, and I had my high school diploma and my college diploma. And I thought I was just like the bee's knees. And my grandpa looked at my wall and said, "You really need to work on your accolades. Like, this is not okay." And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm so unsuccessful. Like, this is horrible. But I looked at it as, you know, and at that time I was already making six figures in real estate. And I was like, how am I not doing good as a person, you know? But I realized it was that I needed to expand what I was doing, not just in business, not just making six figures, but giving back and being part of my community and doing things that make you a better person, that are balancing with being successful in business. So I think that's important too.
I love that. Broaden your horizons. Kelly and I did a 75 hard challenge, which was, it was wrapped around what would be a diet and a workout, but it really was just a total mind workout. You know, it taught us to push our boundaries and stuff. And like, what was your biggest takeaway, Kelly, from doing that whole, you know, not knowing that we could, but figuring out that not only did we, but some of the people we respected that were in that same group, we were able to push on even further than they were, where they all, if you remember, at the end of that challenge at midnight, the next day we found out that half of them had ate a whole bag of candy. Me and you were up in the morning, the next morning still running and stuff. Like, what did you think of that challenge?
Well, we learned a lot as far as like what we tell ourselves, like we don't have extra time to fit things in. What we really found out is the things that are important to you that you find time for. So we found, because we committed to the challenge, we found the time that we didn't think we had extra time for. And we did it, and we didn't make excuses. And that's one of our hugest mottos. You know, we learned that from our coaches way back when, that like a lot of people, they just have excuses and they make themselves feel better about, you know, I don't have time, or I can't do it, or, you know, my kids are at home. You know, well, a lot of those things where we were taught to not make up excuses. I mean, if we're alive, we can figure it out. So, but we did see, after we did our 75 hard, everybody was waiting for that day where they can go, you know, eat a bunch of junk. And there was no alcohol allowed in the challenge, which wasn't a big deal for us. For a lot of people, they were waiting for midnight to get drunk or whatever. So it's about mindset. And a lot of people had, you know, it's just how you look at things and the priorities that you make and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was a really unique, challenging thing for mindset. And I like how you said, you know, we're big on excuses, and we firmly believe that if you fight for your excuses, that you get to keep them. And that's an unfortunate truth, but it's hard to identify where we're letting ourselves off the hook most of the time. So it's easy to point it out for somebody else, you know, to say, oh, yeah, you don't have no time. I'm busy. I got this or that. But I think we all are the busiest we've ever been at the level that we're at, you know. But if you look for it, you can find somebody that has a lot more on their plate that's getting things done. And instead of saying, oh, they're special, they have superhuman powers, you know, if we look to those people and find out what are they doing, we usually find out that they're living by their schedule a little bit tighter. So anything that we do, if we look at it differently and we ask ourselves the questions, you know, where could I be wrong right now? You'll come up with much better answers. And somebody that's really good about getting real with stuff and actually looking at the situation without excuses is Ed Lenzer. And is that something you picked up from home, or is that a new for you? Because like you are really good about calling it like it is.
I'll acknowledge it when I do it. I guess I'll hold myself accountable to a degree. Before I was a lot more lenient than I am now. I think a lot of mine had to do with once I got into real estate. Kind of a turning point for me was actually when you guys went on vacation somewhere. I know it was within probably my first 6 months. You probably went on vacation somewhere where you weren't going to have reception. So you forwarded me like Zillow or something like that, and you were gone for like a week. And I think I got sent like 4 leads. I couldn't believe it. I felt like it was like the best thing. I think 3 of them didn't even return my call or wouldn't answer the phone or whatever. But I just could not believe that I had people to chase. Yep. And when you guys got back, I was seeing how great it was and everything. And I think it might have been Kelly that was saying, well, those people like that are everywhere. Like you're just not noticing them. And so it just really bothered me that they're out there, and I know that they're out there. So I went to bed that night and I was saying, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to go out, I'm going to go around, and I'm going to see the opportunities that are out there. And one of the first things that I did is I drove down the street, and there was like a work crew working on a house. So I pulled over, I started talking to the people. Turns out that one of the guys that's there, it's his rental, and he's thinking about selling someplace in Ridley that he has. So I stop, I make a contact, I go over it with him, I talk to him about the house out there, and I just, make it. Nothing came of it, but it changes the way you see everything. Then I go to the gas station, I get gas. I've seen this guy, 3 times a week for the last few years. Didn't even know his name up to that point. Asked him his name. Hey, how's it going? Yada, yada. Business is good. Everything's busy. Have you guys thought about buying, because I know him and his brother own the place. Have you guys thought about buying an investment property or something? We were thinking about that. We were thinking about buying like a laundromat or something. Give them my card, leave the gas station. And it's just, people are out there and things are happening all around you all day, every day. And it's things that you see every day, so you don't notice them. They don't stand out to you. They're in the background. And unless your mind is right, you're never going to see them, and you're just going to drive right by or walk right by and just miss opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And my goal was to build up my database, or just people on the fringe, because those, a lot of those come through, as we all know now, a lot of those come through over time. And it's just funny to me how, Amber mentioned being reactionary, and it's real easy to get caught up in reacting to everything every day. But if you go out with an intention, it changes everything. It changes everything as far as business goes for me.
Absolutely. I love how you said, like when you went out and looked for it, there it was. And if we're looking to buy a brand new red BMW, guess what you see on the street every single day? It's like all of a sudden they appear. They've always been there, but whatever we're focused on, that's what we're going to attract into our life. And that we talked about mindset and how powerful it is a little bit, but what about the wrong mindset? Like, have you guys been in a place where you've let yourself get into the wrong mindset, and then you notice that things are starting to go down and you're able to catch that? And then how do you get out of that? Can anybody here remember a time where that's happened to them? I'll tell you one.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to quickly touch on, what we're going through right now. I think it's really easy for a lot of people to get stuck in this, oh my gosh, this is happening to us, and everybody's slow, and nobody's going to work, and when is the market going to pick up again, and is it going to tank, or are we in a bubble, or what's, and everyone kind of goes into this like short-term panic. And so for me, when you come out of, just like anything, when you're on a high of tons of escrows and you close them all and you're starting your month fresh and you're like, am I going to get these again? And so you go through this small panic. I always compare it to like a golf game, like one round I'm super amazing, and then the next round I could have 15 strokes and I'm horrible at golf. But I always try to take it back to the basics that make me, again, feel comfortable. So starting my day working out, starting my day doing the things that are my kind of basics of my ritual or basics of my day to make sure my intention is straight. So I'm not perfect. I get off path and I sometimes do things that are, not proactive in my business, but I always try to scale it back to just things that I know that will get me back on track. So it's easy, like in a pandemic that we're in now, to kind of give up and say, well, everybody else is the way that everyone else is in the situation I'm in now too. So I'm just going to sit back and wait like everyone else. But in these situations is an opportunity for everybody that wants to be successful to grow even more, to take advantage of it. How can I be better than people that I'm working with? And how can I stand out right now when other people are sitting back waiting for opportunity to hit them in the face? I think that's important too, to take advantage of things that are a negative and really push them into a positive perspective. So.
Yeah, you're flipping it. I love that. And we see a lot. Most people, I would say, like right now, it's 2020. If you're watching this later, and we're going through the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, and there's a lot of people that Amber's talking about too that have looked at this negatively, and their businesses have been directly impacted. Now, we're seeing some impact from it, but we're also finding massive success during it. So, Kelly, what do you think? Like, as far as our business, it's grown, right? You watch our numbers and stuff, but we've done better in production than we did, or even agent attraction, the same. We've got even a good number of people that are onboarding and coming over and everything else. So for us, our focus stayed where it was supposed to be, and we didn't have any trouble, right?
Yeah. I mean,
right.
Totally. Going back to what Ed was saying about like leads and things, we see it with our team a lot. We're kind of past like I was saying before, we don't use excuses like we used to in the beginning, and that's all due to coaching and just training ourselves. And we have each other also to bounce off of. And if one of us gets really negative about something, then the other one is like, just how do we fix it? Let's move on. So we do have that advantage. But now that we're leaders, we kind of see it in our team, and trying to get them out of the excuses and the negativity is the hard thing. And like Ed was saying, when we gave him those leads while we were gone, and he looked at it as a positive thing, even if he wasn't getting in touch with them or whatever, he's like, how do I get more of this? And where do I get these from? Where we see a lot in our team, it's about what's, in their head, what they tell themselves. Like, well, a lot of times they get leads from us and they're like, oh, these leads are terrible. But then Steve will turn around and call the same leads and he gets stuff off of them. So, and then he goes back and it's like, well, I call them and they want to go look at houses, so it is like, them telling themselves things, or the way that they approach things differently. And just, they get a bad lead. So then they feel like everything's a bad lead. So when I talk to this person, it's not going to be 100% because it's just going to be terrible. It's things like that. We see it a lot as a team leader, and just having to break through those barriers. You see a big difference in them once they break through that mindset thing. It's huge for your business. If you feel like everything's bad, everything's going to be bad. And if you go at it with a different, frame of mind that this is going to be good, then that's what happens. So.
Yeah, that's fire. I remember being that, just like those team members where I'm on the phone bitching at Zillow talking about, hey, these leads all suck. I'm done. I'm not paying anymore. And it was one of the people at Zillow that reminded me that there was other ways to go about those conversations. Instead of saying, yeah, that house is pending, thanks for calling. They said, hey, what do you love about that house? What was it? Oh, it was. Did you love that area? Have you seen this area? Did you know there's this house available? Keeping people engaged, and what did you like about it, and how can I actually solve the problem that you're calling me to get solved? And that's find me a house. And it doesn't have to be that particular one that's pending. So when my mindset shifted, things really changed as far as conversion on the phones and stuff like that. So we are coming up on the tail end of our 20-minute session here. I was worried it would be hard to talk about mindset for 20 minutes, but I feel like we could probably talk about it all freaking day.
Right?
Hopefully this is helpful to everybody. Does anybody have any closing thoughts on a mindset that you want to throw out there before we part?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, change your mind. Mindset matters. Thanks for tuning in. Look forward to the next session. All right, bye, guys. Thanks for joining us today.